Hello everyone. So yes, so the stream is started now, just started now, and what we are going to do now, we are going to first of all discuss whatever we have done in the last session. Okay, in the last session that we are having, we are going to discuss that part, and after that, in this particular session, we are going to work on lists. We are going to discuss what is a list, how to work on a list. Apart from that, we are also going to discuss something called as what are the different operations I can perform on a list, why we are using a list, what is list, which is nothing but a data structure. Okay, so all the questions are going to be answered in this particular lecture. Apart from that, we are also going to discuss how we can perform advanced operation on list, like multi-dimensional list is also something that we are having. Okay, list plays a very important role if you want to work on data, if you want to go for competitive programming or any field of programming. Data structures plays a very important role, especially lists. After that, we are also having dictionaries, which comes under I would say no SQL type of databases. That also plays a very important role, but lists are the I would say should be your number one priority. Okay, so now let's go for that part now, and let's see what are the different operations I can perform on it. So for that purpose, what we are having the same thing here. I'm opening my collab environment here, and here you can see this is the last code that we have done, where we were operating a different kind of operations on a string, which is mastering the strings. Okay, we have cloned some of the functions as well, that how so that we do not need to use their functions, we can use the function that we want from our end as well. We can do the same thing. Okay, after that, we are doing the same thing like cloning title functions. Okay, means how we can clone the title function, that is also something that we have done using lowercase and uppercase functions. And after that, we are concatenating the output. Okay, so that is something that we have done in the last session, and in this particular session we are going to work on lists to be more specific. Okay, so if you guys are having anything in your mind, you can go for it. If you are having any doubt related to that, otherwise we will start the session. Otherwise, we just started working on the list part. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss what is a list. Okay, so if I'm talking about, so first of all, we need to know why we are using a list. Okay, so let's suppose you want to make a program that can store the data of all the classes and will return you what is the average marks a particular student is having. For that purpose, what I'm doing, I'm taking a variable named as name. I'm taking the input from the user, that what is the name of the student. Okay, this is the question that I'm asking from the user, and you will get a result in terms of a string, because name is nothing but a string. After that, what I want to know about their class as well. Okay, so class is not something that we can use like CLASS, because that is an inbuilt function we are having here. So what I'm going to do, instead of that, we are going to use something called as CLS. I am changing the name to CLS, and after that, I am taking in from the user that what is the class of the student. Enter your class. Okay, user will enter the class. After that, we want to know about their marks, how much they have, how much marks they have stored in. Let's suppose Hindi subject. Okay, I am again taking the input from the user. Enter marks in Hindi. Okay, so whatever marks they have stored in, I am taking that particular input, and that should be in the integer format only, because the number can only be in integer format. It can store only the numbers. Okay, after that, I am doing the same for English as well. Okay, how much that particular student has scored in English subject. Okay, and after that, I am also storing, let's suppose, a particular value for the sake of one more subject I am going for, which is nothing but math. Okay, enter marks in maths. Okay, so if I'm going for this particular thing, executing it, so what we are getting, first of all, it is connecting to the server so that it can allocate you some of the resources, right? Now what, once that is done, what it will do, it will start asking you for few questions, right? And this is exactly the question that we are having now. What is the name of the student? Okay, because we have asked for this question, name of the student, let's suppose Ashish. Okay, enter the class. Okay, so the student is of, let's suppose, class 10th. Okay, how much marks he has scored in Hindi? Let's suppose he has scored 78 marks. How much marks he has scored in English? Let's suppose he has scored 85 marks. How much marks he has scored in maths? Let's suppose he has scored 80 marks again. Okay, so this is the data of one student. If I'm printing the name, printing class, printing marks of Hindi, printing marks of English, and printing marks of maths. Okay, so this is something that we are having now. Let's suppose if I want to know how much marks he has scored in total. So in total, what we can take Hindi plus English plus math. These are the total marks that particular student has scored. Out of how many marks? 300 marks, obviously. So these are the total number of marks that particular student is having, and this is the percentage, means 0.81 is the percentage. Okay, to be more specific, the average mark the particular student is having is of 81%. Okay, so this is the point of view about the a particular data that we are having. But this is the data of just one student. Let's suppose if we want to perform the same operation on, let's suppose, a whole class. In a class we are having, let's suppose, 50 students. For each student I need to take the input from, let's suppose, if we are removing the class input as well, we need to have the name of the student, marks in Hindi, English and math. We need to take 4 variables per student. If we are having total of 50 students, we need to take 50 multiplied by 4 will give you 200 variables I need to take, only if we are having 3 exams. We can add science, right? We can add social science, that's up to you. If we are having 5 subject, we are having 6 variable per student, which will give you 300 variables per class, right? In a one class we are having, let's suppose, 50 students. And let's suppose if you want to do it the same for the whole school, where we are having, let's suppose, 1000 students, 1000 student, 6 variable per student will give you 6000 variables. Now you are not going to perform you are not going to write 6000 different variables, right? Because that is going to be really difficult to create 6000 variables for just a class. And after that, if someone if a new student is adding in, so we need to create a variable for them as well. So instead of that, what we can do the same operation using some data structure. What is a data structure? Data structure is a container where we can store multiple type of data. Okay, in just one particular container we can save it there as well. Like here I am having a container named as variable. In variable I can only have one type of data. Okay, but if I am talking about a container like data structures, so there we can structure multiple types of data. Okay, and list is one type of such data structure. Okay, so let's discuss what is a list then. Earlier, so this is also the project that we are going to evaluate at the end, like how you can do the same operation, how you can do the same thing on a list. Okay, so what is a list then? If I'm, let's suppose, creating a number 1 which is having value 10, number 2 which is having value 13, number 3 which is having value 15, and number 4 which is having value 12. These are the 4 numbers that I'm having. If I'm performing something called as number 1 plus number 2 plus number, if I want to have the sum of all the numbers, what I can do, I can just call for sum num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num4. Okay, similarly if I'm having thousands of numbers, I am not going to do it in this particular way. What I will do, I can do the same thing in a list. I am writing LST, I am defining a list. This is just the name of the variable. You can take it any way, any variable of your choice, and inside that what you are going to do here, you are going to write something called as square bracket. You need to open square bracket and end square bracket, and whatever you are writing within that will be treated as the elements of the list. Let's suppose if I'm writing the same numbers 10, second number is 13, third number is 15, fourth number is 12. These are the four numbers that I'm having. Each number that I'm writing, or each character I'm writing, or each string I'm writing should be comma separated. So we need to write a comma in between all the numbers that I have written, or the whole data that I have written. Now that's it. If I are executing it and printing LST, we are getting the list. In this particular list, we are having all the values. And here you can see I have stored all these four values in just one variable, which is a form of a list. But earlier I need to use four variables. Okay, so now what I can do, I can check the type of LST, and let's check what is the type of LST. It is of a list type because it is data structure. Okay, now let's discuss what are the different operations I can perform on it, because these are four numbers that I am having. I have stored the four numbers in a list. How we can access the element, how we can add new element to the list, and how we can select multiple elements from a list. That is something I need to know. Okay, so let's go for that and let's see what we can do for that purpose as well. Okay, so what we are doing here, I am printing this particular list. So in this particular list, I am having four values, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how to access this particular element? To access the first element of the string, I need to go for LST of 0. Okay, I'll tell you how the things will go at the end. Okay, let's see here as well. So if I'm talking about this, if you want to access this particular index, if you want to access this particular element, you need to write a 0, because the indexing start from 0. If you want to access this 13, you need to write 1. If you want to access this 15, you need to write 2. If you want to access 12, you need to write 3, and so on for multiple values. Okay, this is how indexing works. To access the first element, you need to write 0, second element 1, third element 2. Right, so total length of the element means total number of elements we are having here is 5, and to access it we will go from 0 to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which will give a total of 5 values. Okay, so now let's see how we can access those particular values. So if I am going for, let's add a new code cell, and here if I am writing LST of bracket open bracket close, and here I am going for 0, what I will get? I will get the first element of the list, which is 10. Similarly, I can go for 1. What it will give you? It will give you the second element of the list. Second element, but index wise, it is at first index. Okay. To get the element with index 3, what is the element at index 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. At third index, I am having 12. So output should be 12 only. Similarly, we can also go for a 4, and what it will give you? It will give you 32, but it will not give you 32 because this is something that I have written in this particular comment. But in actual value, in actual list that I am having nothing such as 32 in the list. Okay, I am having just 4 values. And what will happen if I am going out of the index, like if I am going for 4, and we are not having any element at index 4, then what will happen? It will give you an error. And what is the name of the error? The name of the error is list index out of range. What do you mean by list index out of range? It means you are calling an index which is out of range. Index means a location. You are calling a location which is not in the range. Means in that particular list, we are having a particular range where all the elements are stored, and the range is from 0 to 3. If we are calling the index 0 of 4, so that is not in this particular range, right? Only at these particular location I am having an element. After that I am not adding anything. Because of that we are getting this error of list index out of range. Simple? Yes. So now if that part is done, what we are having after that, we can also go for accessing each and every element from the right as well. Okay, so this is something, if you want to do it, this is from left to right, right? If the indexing is starting from left to right, same thing you can perform from right to left as well. Okay, what will happen if you want to go for right from right to left? Let's see what will happen. If you are going from right to left, then what will happen? To access the last element, we need to write -1. To access the second last element, you need to write -2, -3 and -4. Okay, this is how we can access the element as per your choice, to be more specific. If you want to go from right to left, you can go for that. If you want to go for left to right, you can go for that as well. Okay, that's totally up to you. Means if I want to access the last element of this particular list, what you can do, you can go for Lst of -1, execute it, and you will get a 12. If we are going for, let's suppose, -3, then what it will give you? It will give you 13. Okay, but similarly, if you are going for -5, then what will happen? It will again give you list index out of range, because list index from right to left is from -4 to -1. We are not having any value less than -4. Okay, and because of that only we are getting the same error, list index out of range. Okay, so what else we are having? Once this part is done, after that what we can do, we can also go for something called as slicing operation. Means we can select some locations from a particular list. Okay, for that purpose, let's suppose we are having the same list. Okay, I am writing Lst. This is the list that we are having in the beginning. If I want to access the first two elements, what I can do? The same operation I can perform that I have performed on a string. Okay, we can use slicing for that. What I can write? I can write Lst bracket open bracket close, and here I will write the starting index, and here I will write the ending index. Okay, start and end should be there. So I want to start from 0th index because I want to include this. This is a 0th index, this is a first index, this is a second index, this is at third index. If you want to access these two elements, technically you need to write 0:1, because this is at 0th location, means I want to start from 0 and I want to go up to 1. This is the first index. But if I am executing it, I will get only one value, which is 10, because starting will remain the same, but as far as the ending part is concerned, we need to write one more than what we want. I mean to say, if you want to go up to 13 or at index till index 1, you need to write here index 2. You need to include one more than what you want. Okay, means if you are writing 0:2, it will give you 10 and 13. If you want to include 15 as well, so index of 15 is 0, 1, 2 is the index of 15, but because I want to include 15 as well, I need to go one more than that. Index 4, till index 4 I need to achieve. Okay, and now I will get, okay, I need to go for 3 only, because 0, 1, 2 is the index of 15, I need to go for 3 then. Okay, now if I'm executing it, these are the 3 elements that we are having now. So this is something we can call it as slicing. We can slice each list using this particular operation that we are having, slicing, but from left to right. Similarly, we can perform the same slicing from right side as well. Okay, from right side, what I can do, I can go for something called as, means I will take all the elements, means I will write here 4. Okay, and what I want, let's suppose this is 10, I want to remove this 10 and 13 as well. So I will start from which index? 0, 1, I will start from second index. I'm starting from second index and taking the third and fourth index. Second index and third index. Second index is having 15, third index is having 12, and because I want to include third index, which is the end, I need to write -4 here as well. Clear? But if I want to include all only the last two elements, If I want to include only the last two elements, in that case what will happen? I'll go for something called as Lst of column. Here I will define the starting, here I will define the ending. I will take all the elements, I'll remove all the elements and take only last two elements. To take last two element, I will write -2 here. Means I will start from -2 here, and here I will write nothing. Or I am writing nothing means I'll take all the elements after -2. Let's execute it, and you can see we are taking the last two elements. Same thing means this is none. If we are not writing anything, it will take all the elements after that. Similarly, if I am going for something called as 3, so what this will do, it will start from nowhere, means it will take all the elements before index 3, means before index 2 it will take index 0, 1 and 2. Let's execute this and see if we are having the same element, and we are having 3 elements using slicing. Okay, similarly you can go for starting and -1 as well. Like if you want to remove the first element and the last element and rest of all of the element you want to take, then in that case what you can do, you can go for something like this. I'll start from 1 and I'll go up to -1. It will remove the first element 10, it will remove the last element 12. It will give you only the middle elements after removing first and last element. So these are all the operations that all the very basic operation through which I can access the elements of a list. Okay, now let's see how we can automate the process using for loop. Okay, means if you want to perform some operations on it. So Lst is the value where I am having all the values of stored list are stored. What I will do, I will go for something called as for I in Lst. Lst is a list. For I in list, and after that I am printing I. If I am executing it, you will get some output. What is the output? The output is 10, 13, 15 and 12. What is this 10, 13, 15 and 12? These 4 values are nothing but the elements of the list using index, means index wise. What this I will do, it will take each and every element one by one from the list and keep printing it. Lst means in the first iteration value of I is 10. After that it is 13, then it is 15, then it is 12. Okay, this is how you will get the elements of a particular list, and this is how you are printing those values as well. Same thing you can also do using something called as list, but using indexing. Okay, means to access the element, what I can do, I can write Lst of 0. Okay, similarly to index to take the next element, I will write Lst of 1, I can write Lst of 2, I can write Lst of 3, and I can write Lst of 4. And because Lst of 4 will give you an error, so this is the code through which I can take all the elements of a list. But this is not the optimal way, because let's suppose if you are having thousands of the elements, we are not going to take 1000 elements at a time, or we are not going to write 1000 lines of code. So what we can do in that particular case, we will, means here you can see the code is repeating. What is repeating? Here I am having 0, here I am having 1, then I am having 2, and then I am having 3. Means if somehow we can manipulate the value started from 0 and go up to 3, then what we can do, we can pass it into this particular list, and we will get each and every element. So I am doing the same thing here as well. I am going for a for loop. Okay, for I in range I am defining till this particular time, I am defining it 4. Okay, and let's see if I am printing I, what I will get. If I am defining 4, what I am getting value 0, 1, 2 and 3, because I am going up to 4. So I need to define, if you want to reach up to 5, you need to write 6 here. If you want to reach up to 10, you need to write 11 here. We need to write one more than what you want. Same here as well. So it will print to value 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we are passing the same value inside this particular list, because the value of I is changing now from 0, 1, 2, 3. If we are passing the same value inside this particular list, what it will return you? It will return you the elements which are at this particular index of the list. So if you are executing it, this is something that you are having. At index 0 I am having 10, at index 1 I am having 13, at index 2 I am having 15, at index 3 I am having 12. This is the code automation that we have done. Then now through this for loop only, we are accessing all the elements of this particular list. Now we are having one more problem with here as well. And what is that particular problem? The problem is we need to define this particular number each and every time if the size of list expands or shrinks. Okay, so what I can do here, we can automate this particular process as well. How I can process it means here I need to define how many elements are there. We are having a function in a list which is called as len of lst len function, and we are going to pass the whole list into this particular function. What it will return you? It will return you how many elements are there in that particular list. Okay, if let's suppose we are adding 2 more values into it, it will return you 6. If we are removing 2 values, it will return you 2. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to take this and pass it in this particular position, and now if you are executing it, it will return you all the elements of this particular list. Even here I am adding few more values into this particular list, it will still give you the same result. Okay, means if this is the list that we are having, and here let's suppose I am adding few more values like 45, 43, 23, 54, and executing it and executing this again. Here you can see it is printing you all the elements, but in this particular case, because I have passed length of LST, it is also printing you all the values. Okay, and now you know if we are having all the values, what are the different operations I can perform on it. I can find the sum, I can find the average, I can go for even odd, I can go for if else condition, whatever you think you can go for it. That's totally up to you what you want to do with it. Okay, so yes, that's pretty much it till now. So let's summarize the session whatever we have done so far. Okay, so what we have done earlier, we have discussed why we are using lists or data structures. Why we are using data structures? Because it is really difficult if we are having large amount of data to work with variables. Variables are not that efficient when we are working on data. Okay, because variables or basic variable in terms of data, or if we are having, let's suppose, a number or float or integer or boolean, then what we are having a problem that we can store only one data in one particular variable. If we are having multiple type of data, we need to store it in some particular container. That container where we can store multiple type of data is called as a data structure. Okay, or database also, in some places it is also called as databases, but this is where we are dealing very huge amount of data or data warehousing. Okay, but here in terms of Python or any programming language, that is called as data structure, because we are structuring the data in such a format that we can use it afterwards. Okay, in a very easy format, because we can do it in using variables as well, that's up to you. But in variables, if we are expanding the code, if we are adding more and more number of people in the database, then it is really difficult. Okay, so because of that only we are using data structures, and list is one of the data structure that we are having. And how to initialize a list? We will open a square bracket and ending a square bracket as well, and it will create a list for you. Okay, once that is done, you can check the type of it by writing type function, pass the list through it, and you will get an item which is nothing but the list. Okay, because this is of a list type. Now to access the elements from a particular list, we are having multiple options. The main option that we are using is indexing. We can use the indexing from left to right. That is the main indexing that we are using. But if you somehow need to perform some other operation, because of that you want to access the element from right to left, you can go for that as well. That's totally up to you. Like here, to access from left to right, we need index from 0 to n. Okay, and if you want to go for Right to left we will go for minus n to minus 1. Okay, so this is how we can use it, and this is the example how we are doing it. List of minus 4 that we are having, minus 4 is giving you 10. Similarly minus 2 will give you 2. Similarly okay, minus 4 will give you 10, minus 2 will give you 15, minus 3 will give you 13. Okay, and minus 1 will give you 12. Similarly, as far as the positives are concerned, 3 LST of 3 will give you 12, LST of 1 will give you 13, LST of 2 will give you 15. Okay, after that we can also go for something called as slicing. We can slice a particular list, all the elements of a list. How we are slicing it? We are slicing it in the same way as we are slicing it when we are working on list, when we are working on strings. Okay, using indexing we are slicing it. If we are writing 0 colon 3, then what will happen? 0 colon 3 means we are accessing the element from index 0 and go up to index 2. 0th index, first index and second index. 0th index is 10, first index is 13, second index is 15. Okay, similarly if we are talking about LST of 2 colon 4, then what we are having there? We are having 15 and 12, because we are taking the element from starting from second index and go up to second and third, because fourth is not going to be included. Second index I am having 15, third index I am having 12, because fourth index is not included. What else we can do? We can also go for something called as minus when we want to take the list from the right. Okay, minus 2 colon none means we are going to take all the elements after minus 2. Okay, after that if I am going for LST, that we are having none colon 3 that we have written, then we will take all the elements before index 3. Before index 3 means it will take index 0, index 1 and index 2. Once that is done, we can also go for like taking the element index from the starting as well as from the end. Will like here I have written 1 colon minus 1. From the starting I'll remove the element of index 0, and at the end I am going to remove the last element, and I'll take all the elements except the first and the last. Okay, same thing I am doing here as well, but here I am going to call it using indexing. Okay, how I am calling using indexing? I have gone for a for loop. Inside that I am passing the length of LST function, which will return you how many elements are there in a list, and accordingly I am printing the value 0 to 7. After that what I am doing, I am printing I am passing that particular value to this particular list. Means I am first of all I am writing LST of 0, then LST of 1, LST of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what it will return you? It will return me the value at that particular location. LST of 0 will return me 10, LST of 1 will return me 13, 15, 12, 45, 43, 23, 54. Okay, so this is all about a particular list. Very basic operation we can perform on a list. We are going to dig really deeper into it as well, where we are going to perform a lot of operation, how we can find the sum of all the elements, how we can, like if we are talking about this length function, we can even go for something called as how to calculate the length of a particular list by ourselves. I do not want, if you do not want to go for a length function as well, okay, that's up to you, and we are going to discuss that in the upcoming videos. So that's pretty much it about this particular live stream, and yes, we are going to discuss this in as we proceed further in the upcoming videos. And as far as the session is concerned, from the Sunday, on Sunday our live we are going to upload a whole session of NumPy series. If you want to dig deeper into data driven technologies, either data science or data analysis, or pandas we are having, which is a library we can use, deep learning, machine learning. So I would say data working on NumPy is the base. You need to have a very core knowledge about how NumPy works, and we are having a playlist which is going to launch on Sunday. Okay, so that is going to be the whole playlist launch on one day only, so make sure to be a part of it. And that's pretty much it about this particular session that we have done. If you guys are having any doubt, you can ask us in the comments. Okay, and otherwise whatever code we have written so far, you will also get the GitHub link of this particular code from the links below. Okay, so yes, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in the next session then. Take care all.